Hey guys, welcome back. Today's topic is how to cheat on your diet and get away with it. First of all, what do I consider a cheat? A cheat meal, a refeed, are they all the same? What's the difference? A cheat meal for me is a substantial increase in calories, mainly carbohydrates, at a specific time. What is the difference between a cheat and a refeed? It depends on what you consider a cheat meal. For me, I prefer the word refeed, generally. I will use a refeed strategically with clients. I don't really like the word cheat meal because if you're allowed a cheat meal, it's not really a cheat. To be broad, we're going to say cheat meal or refeed. To me, a refeed is so strategic and can be really, really beneficial at specific times when a client needs to drop weight. Within 24 to 48 hours after a refeed or a cheat, your body turns into a metabolic furnace. What do I mean by this? Well, basically, if your body is in a calorie deficit for a sustained period of time, a lot of your hormones start to downregulate. Leptin, ghrelin, even insulin and a lot of other hormones change the way that they're produced in the body by the cell. Introducing an influx of carbohydrates and an increased calorie intake, you're going to prevent your body or your metabolism from reaching a plateau. This can be essential when dieting or even just with fat loss. Some things to take into consideration. Firstly, feeds and cheat meals are not essential, and although sometimes they may be physiologically optimal, they're not always psychologically optimal. You have to ask yourself mentally, how are you going to react to a refeed or a cheat meal? Some people on one side of the coin will absolutely love and relish and enjoy a cheat meal, and it will spur them on week by week by week, looking forward to that goal. On the flip side of the coin, there are some clients and there are people out there who can't mentally deal with a refeed that well. They feel guilty, they feel like they've come off their diet, they don't trust the process, and sometimes once they have something sweet, it just spirals downhill. The most important thing here is to distinguish which of these two people you are psychologically, and then look at how to attack it physiologically. This is something that your coach should probably know pretty early on after taking you on as a client. It's definitely something that you guys should speak about and definitely something to bear in mind. How to cheat. For me, it depends on how I look or how my clients are looking, and I use this as a guide. Initially, what I will do with any clients, and I've already highlighted with myself, some of the foods that my body responds really well to when I want to have a refeed. So that's massively important. Figure out what foods are likely to be beneficial for you during your refeed, but also you probably want a mixture between foods that you like and foods that are going to be beneficial. They're not always the same. So when to cheat? More often than not, these should be strategically added in to specific day. Never give a client a cheat on a rest day. Very, very rarely. Only in psychological circumstances where it is massively beneficial or really, really needed. More often than not, physiologically, I will pinpoint a weak area for a client and try and initiate this cheat meal into that day. This increase of calories, increased carbohydrates are going to help grow, restore glycogen stores in that muscle on that day, and therefore trying to be optimal with the calories, the carbs that we're using. Rarely will I give a client a cheat meal if I don't think that they are lean enough. If a client is not depleted and if a client's hormone levels have not deregulated, then there isn't going to be any physiological benefit to a cheat meal, only a psychological one. This is something that you need to pinpoint pretty early on, and it's only generally when a client really, really needs one physiologically, unless they're really psychologically weak, that I will integrate these in. So generally for the first few weeks of a diet, it is very rare for me to add cheat meals in. The first few weeks of any diet, any training regime, you should be monitoring, assessing, seeing how your body's going to react to whatever stimulus or whatever nutrition or training program you provide. Having gauged how your body's going to react to such stimulus, then you can make more educated guesses and maybe kind of throwing some cheat meals in, some refeeds here and there. Are carbs really the enemy? Not at all. As I said in previous vlogs, carbs can be massively essential when trying to mend a metabolism, reverse diet, manipulate your metabolic rate and grow muscle, of course. And utilizing carbs strategically, knowing which carbs to use, when to use them, how to initiate them, how to cycle them, all these various different things become essential when it comes to picking a refeed or a carb cycling program for you. It is rare that I won't carb cycle a client unless specific circumstances, potentially growing, adding lean muscle tissue. Even then I will still try and carb cycle. It is very rare, never, almost ever will I give a client a nutritional program on a rest day and a training day that are exactly this. You need to be specific with what you're trying to do with your food. You need to think about what you're trying to do with your food, and your body is doing very different things on a rest day to a training. So you guys are probably wondering what I usually have for my cheat meals. So a few things that I absolutely love. I love pizza, I love ice cream, I love virtually anything that's bad for you. Do I use those as a cheat? Not really. I try and stay away from them unless I really need to. Anyone who knows me will know that I love bad food, but my way of dealing with that is I will increase my output so that I can have that little bit more food and still be in a calorie deficit. Strategic refeeds that I use for some of my clients, depending on carbohydrates, generally might be something like going out for a burrito, going out for an Indian. Persian food, I absolutely love. It's a big thing for me at the minute. Greek food, it depends. I try and stay away from a lot of trans fats. I try and stay away from too many liquid carbs because I would prefer utilize my carbohydrates on good whole foods rather than integrating things like Cokes. So I will go out and have a cheat meal, and more often than not I will still have a Diet Coke because I would prefer have that little bit more sweet potato, that little bit more oats, that little bit more rice, that little bit more pita bread. So yeah, the other thing that I try not to do is I try to keep my fats low on my refeed days. Obviously, for the obvious reason that I want to get my carbohydrates high, I want to refuel my glycogen stores, and to do that without going OTT on calories, I probably bring my fats down a tad. That's not always the case. If you go out for some food, there's always going to be pretty high fats, but I just try and be a bit more aware about which foods I'm using when I integrate those into my nutritional plan. To summarize, create a total deficit throughout the week, each day, so that you can utilize those carbohydrates, those calories later on in the week and integrate them strategically in the form of a cheat meal. Generally, I will always keep my protein relatively constant, even if it's a rest day, even if it's a high carb day, even if it's a low carb day or a refeed day. For now, guys, enjoy. I'm going to stroll around Paris, one of my favorite cities in the world. If any of you guys have any videos, any questions, or anything you'd like to see me do in the future, please leave a comment below. I lived here for a while in my teens. I absolutely love it. Hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll get on it in the next few weeks. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. See you guys later.